Friday night and it's Valentine's Day. Hi everybody. Scientology's the only UK school that uses Scientology's study technology has lost a quarter of its students, and its head teacher is a Scientologist who has recently admitted to having a wellspring of power. So let's talk about that. Let's also talk a little bit about East Grinstead Town Council and how every time it feels like you're making a step in the right direction, you just get knocked back 2 more steps. There is an update that I will share with you shortly, but first, let's say hi to people in the chat. SP Crusader Leanie's in the house. Good evening. Welcome to the chat. Please remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and keep the chat on topic. Happy Valentine's Day. There we go. Thank you. And on that note, turns out a large percentage of my subscribers don't have the bell ticked on their subscriber button, so they don't get notifications when I go live. So if you are subscribed to my channel, please make sure you click the bell and select all notifications so they get a notification whenever I go live. A.O. Shaw says, Irish Mart is here. Hi, Alex and chat. Hello. Bok Buddy, what happened now? Well, let's talk first about Greenfields. So Greenfields is the only Scientology school in the UK. It is run separately to Scientology. It's not actually part of their organization on paper, but it is a part of ABLE, which is a Scientology front group, if you like. It's the portion of Scientology that deals with study technology and front groups, that sort of thing. So they apply L. Ron Hubbard's study tech, and they are run entirely by Scientologists. The chief governor, or whatever the title is, the head of the board of governors for the school, is Scientology's lawyer. And their head teacher is a guy called Andrew, and he is a Scientologist, and he has recently featured in a St. Hill newsletter talking about how wonderful his studies have been at St. Hill. So let's have a look at this article. There is a link in the description down below. Scientologybusiness.com is my blog. This is the screenshot version because YouTube doesn't like it when I show people's faces and names. So I've censored them for the purposes of YouTube, so that Scientology don't send loads of privacy complaints my way, as they always do. But here is the article. Greenfield School passes inspection but loses 25% of its students. The UK's only Scientology school has lost a quarter of its students after having their visa granting status revoked, and an inspection flagged serious safeguarding concerns. Greenfield School near Forest Row in Sussex was inspected by the Independent Schools Inspectorate, the ISI, in March 2024, where concerns about the school's administration practices and safeguarding policies were raised. A follow-up inspection took place in December 2024, during which inspectors found its concerns have been handled. However, its report on student numbers reveals the school has lost 25% of its total cohort, down from 176 in March to 133 in December. In a letter to parents dated 5th of February 2025, head teacher Andrew wrote, "I'm very pleased to be sharing the most recent report on Greenfield School from the Independent Schools Inspectorate. The report states that the school meets all the standards that were considered during the inspection. Safeguarding gets the full seal of approval, with arrangements implemented effectively and all regulatory requirements met. The fact that concerns are promptly responded to and clearly recorded is also mentioned, as well as the monitoring done by senior staff and trustees." In their report, the ISI state that the school now monitor pupils' achievement and use suitable strategies to support and challenge pupils with different prior attainment. It goes on to reveal governors are frequent visitors to the school. They now receive detailed reports and data related to pupil progress and achievement, suggesting that this was not the case prior to the inspection. The information ensures that governors are well informed and can support the challenge the school leaders effectively. The report also notes appropriate measures are in place to reduce potential risks posed to pupils and staff by extremism and radicalization. However, it does not reference the extremist nature of Scientology's belief system, which teaches incorrect technologies, other religious beliefs, must be hammered out of existence. That's a quote from KSW, Keeping Scientology Working, which is the most important policy letter in Scientology. The school makes use of L. Ron Hubbard study technology, which Scientology claims is secular in the context of schools and front groups, but forms part of their religious scripture when used in their churches. That is just one of the many contradictions in how Scientology pitch itself. It's the same thing, study technology. They argued in the Supreme Court that this forms an integral part of their religious scripture and therefore should be protected as a religious practice. However, when people ask about study technology in the context of Greenfield School, Scientology come out and say it's secular, it's not religious at all, and therefore they're not registered as a religious school. So here is a picture of our man, Andrew. This is his certificate, whole track release. He is about to start his work on the operating Thetan levels, the OT levels, which means he is a senior Scientologist or about to be. Greenfields head teacher Andrew is a committed Scientologist and was recently featured in a St. Hill newsletter sent to parishioners. It's very exciting to me to be here, going OT. The OT levels are where the confidential upper levels of Scientology's Bridge to Total Freedom, which are completed after attesting the state of clear and cost thousands of pounds. At OT3, also known as the Wall of Fire, Scientologists are told about Hubbard's belief that 75 million years ago, a galactic overlord called Xenu imprisoned us on Earth and dropped H-bombs in volcanoes, resulting in mass trauma, which still affects all of us to this very day. Andrew says, I'm traveling to the original route to clear, and before I embarked on it, I got to do Power and Power Plus. These actions were absolutely fantastic as they unlocked such a wellspring of power that I felt unstoppable. Then I did OT preparations, eligibility, and the solo auditor course. It prepared me perfectly for auditing myself on the advanced courses. Now I'm on my clearing course and making my way to clear and then OT. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is for us to do that. It truly is the best thing ever. Don't wait. So here we have the head teacher of Greenfields, the school, saying about how he has a newly unlocked wellspring of power and he feels unstoppable. If that doesn't ring alarm bells, I don't know what does, especially when you consider he is working directly with children and he is working with children in a school setting. And not only that, the school recently had its visa status revoked and several safeguarding concerns were flagged last year by the ISI. This is extremely concerning to me. Greenfields had their student visa sponsoring status revoked after a Home Office inspection last year, with Andrew writing to parents at the time, current sponsorship will end on the 31st of July 2024. It is unclear whether the decision was related to Andrew's newly found wellspring of power. On request for further information around the circumstances of the inspection, UK Visas and Immigration told us if an institution is found to not meet the standards required of a sponsor, that means a school that can sponsor the visas, compliance action will be taken up to and including revocation where appropriate. So UK Visas and Immigration here are saying they've got a scale of things that they can do when they find a school that is not complying with their requirements for granting visas. They went for the full hog. They revoked the visa granting status. They didn't give them a warning or a telling off. They didn't say you need to change this. They just full on stripped the school of their ability to grant international student visas. A visit report is a record of a range of checks undertaken during the site visit, aligned to the sponsorship requirements, and therefore will contain sensitive information relating to the institution's operations. A sponsor may not engage frankly and openly with UKVI during this visit or as part of its licensed lifestyle activity if it believes sensitive information may then be made public. So that's all the UKVI said. I have included the response that they gave me to the bottom of this article if you want to read it in full, but essentially they are saying that they don't want to give any information out because it may jeopardize their position or relationship with the school because of the requirement to keep things confidential. I am once again having Wi-Fi issues, so I'm going to switch over to a better connection. If you hold on 2 seconds. And we are back. Hopefully my connection is a little bit better now. Let me know if there are still connection issues, but let's carry on with this story. A source close to the school told us I didn't fully understand why the visas were taken away. I just realized I want a different view. There you go. Is that better? I didn't fully understand why the visas were taken away. It was either because the normal paperwork was not submitted on time or due to the inspection that found them subpar. Now, my thoughts on this is if they just hadn't sent in the right paperwork on time, I don't think the UK Visa and Immigration part of the Home Office would actually revoke their license. I think they would have just given them a telling off or some advice or guidance of some description. I don't think they would revoke a visa sponsoring license if it was just a case of them not filling out the right forms on time. But who knows? It is understood that international students made up about 20% of Greenfields' cohort prior to losing their visa status. However, due to the higher fees charged for overseas pupils, they accounted for up to 2/3 of the school's income. The school recently increased tuition fees by 30%, but due to changes in legislation, they must now pay 20% VAT, which is sales tax, bringing their financial security into question. A spokesperson for East Sussex County Council. Now, it's important to note here, Sussex is split up into two parts, East Sussex and West Sussex. And then Mid Sussex District Council, which is the one, and then East Grinstead Town Council is below that. So Scientology's headquarters, St Hill, actually sits within West Sussex County Council, but Greenfields School is in East Sussex County Council. The line actually of the border between the two goes in between St Hill and Greenfields. So we haven't had many dealings with East Sussex County Council. So it's hard to say whether they are partial to Scientology or not, or what the situation is there. It's certainly worth investigating more. But I reached out to them for comment, and they said, following the report from the ISI, the local authority followed up these concerns with the school and was satisfied that all appropriate actions were being taken to address the safeguarding concerns. The ISI confirmed this view in their follow-up visit in December 2024. As with all educational establishments, the school is responsible for reducing any risks with regard to preventing and responding to extremism and radicalization. The local authority's training offer and guidance documents support schools in fulfilling these duties. And then I've written here that you can view the head teacher's letter to parents, the ISI report, and so on. I've added the PDFs if you want to read them and download them yourself. That's the response I got from the Home Office. This is the report from the ISI about Greenfields. And this is the letter that Andrew, the head teacher, sent to parents. So what do you guys think? I think it's very concerning that we have a school here that has a head teacher who has a newfound wellspring of power and who is running a school that had major safeguarding concerns flagged just last year, is now continuing to run the school, and the school is apparently doing okay. It's concerning, if you ask me, but worth looking into more, and it is something I will continue following over the coming weeks and months. Now, let's move on to East Grinstead Town Council. As many of you may be aware, I've had a lot of back and forth with East Grinstead Town Council over the last year or so. An article in the Daily Mail went out last year, which raised serious concerns about the close relationship this council have with the Church of Scientology's headquarters in the UK, which is called St Hill Manor. There's been a lot of back and forth. And last year, a number of people spoke at a council meeting and asked questions of the council relating to their relationship with the Church of Scientology. And in response, the council redacted the public meeting, the minutes of the meeting and the recording of the meeting on their YouTube channel. So I then complained, and we had a complaints hearing, and they decided to unredact the minutes, and they only took out a very small portion, but they didn't redact the parts that mentioned Scientology specifically. They just redacted one portion of one person's question that they said was an allegation. It was actually Daniel Chamberlain's story of being abused as a child at St Hill. So they took out that specific portion, but they left the rest of her question in, and they didn't redact everyone else's questions about Scientology. Now, because of the backlash in the Daily Mail based on this, and the fact that I took it to the Information Commissioner's Office, who then ruled that the information is not a vexatious request, and therefore they had to fulfill the obligations and hand over the goods, you would have thought East Grinstead Town Council would have learned. Especially considering the recent positive news that I reported on my channel just the other day, that the mayor actually responded to our questions about whether he received funding from Scientology and confirmed that he has not taken any Scientology cash. Things were looking good, things were looking positive, and we finally felt like perhaps there was a way forward here, and the council were willing to engage in open dialogue with us as survivors of abuse and concerned members of the public. And then they uploaded the council meeting to their YouTube channel, the most recent council meeting that happened on the 27th of January. Now, I reported on this when I went and gave you guys the lowdown on what happened, and it's been a couple of weeks before they have uploaded it to their channel. And let's just watch it. Let's see what you guys think, because it really doesn't look good. I was there in person. So this is the East Grinstead Town Council's official YouTube page. And let's just watch this here. Tell me if you have any issues with the sound.
Would anybody else have questions? Yes, sir.
And so my question, sorry, Alex. My question is relating
So that's me standing up in the room, and I'm about to ask my question.
to item 2 and 6 on the agenda. At the last council meeting, I asked the mayor if the council would make an apology for labelling me a vexatious bully in light of the Information Commission ruling that my Freedom of Information Act request was not vexatious. And the mayor advised, because the ICO had not instructed that the apology to be made is to be made, he therefore wouldn't be doing so. I've since spoken to the Information Commissioner, who has advised that the Commission has no powers to require the council to issue an apology. To me, this feels like an injustice and has continued to cause me a great deal of upset. Would the mayor reconsider his previous response and now apologise for the council's remarks? Or if not, could he provide a reason why and provide some advice on how I can escalate that?
Yeah, so thank you very much for your question. At this moment in time, I won't ask that question, but we'll get the time to respond to you in writing in due course.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was my question. I basically said, I don't know how good the audio quality was, but I basically said, in light of the Information Commissioner's ruling that my request wasn't vexatious, and in light of the Information Commissioner saying he has no powers to enforce the council to force the council to apologise to me, would the mayor reconsider his response and now apologise? Or if not, will he provide a reason why and advice on how I can escalate the matter? And he said, I'm not going to answer that right now, but I will respond in writing, which I said, okay, perfectly fine. One thing that was particularly concerning was, if you watch here on the council meeting recording, this lady here is the leader of the council. This lady here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but the blonde lady, she's the leader of the council. So the mayor is sat here, and this is the clerk, and then this is the leader of the council. And when I say that these remarks caused me a great deal of upset, she smirked. She actually found it funny. Let's watch it back.
Would the mayor reconsider his previous response and now apologise for the council?
Do you see that? Let's watch it back.
That the Commission has no powers to require the council to issue an apology. To me, this feels like an injustice and has continued to cause me a great deal of upset. Would the mayor reconsider his previous response and now apologise for the council's remarks? Or
there we go. And perhaps why that's even more concerning is that she is the one that wrote the letter in which she said the council said that I was a vexatious bully. So I found that interesting. But let's carry on and let's listen to the next two questions that were raised at the council meeting by Stephen Jones, who is an ex-Scientologist that lives in East Grinstead, and our good friend Austin. Let's hear how that went down.
In due course.
Thank you.
Okay, would anybody else like to ask any questions? Yes. Can I have your name?
My name is Stephen Jones. I live in East Grinstead. So this does relate to item 6, disposing of outstanding business, because it has been raised before. So my question is, would the mayor consider meeting with myself so that we could discuss and explain our position and why we are opposed to that organisation?
So, yes, just to be clear, Stephen Jones, who asked, would the mayor consider meeting with me and other survivors of abuse inside the Church of Scientology to discuss our concerns? What have the council done? They've literally bleeped out the part that mentions Scientology specifically. Now, our concerns are that the council have, that Scientology have undue influence over this council. Our concerns are that this council have a very close relationship with the Church of Scientology. And things were starting to look up. All we want is open dialogue. And so when members of the public speak at these council meetings, we expect not to be censored or redacted in any way, especially if we're not making any sort of allegations. This was just someone saying the word Scientology, and it has been literally bleeped out. Have the council not learned from their past mistakes?
So that we could discuss and explain our position.
Outrageous.
Why we are opposed to that organisation.
I won't answer that question, but I will get back to you. That's okay, Mr. Jones. Have you got contact details for the town clerk?
So absolutely fair enough. The mayor says, I don't want to answer that question. I'll get back to you later if that's okay. And then asks, you know, can you provide your contact details? Yeah, no problem. Fine. But the problem is it has been redacted and we didn't know this was going to happen. Now, next up is our good friend, Austin. Let's listen to what Austin has to say.
Given concerns raised.
Well, thank you very much for your question, but it's not on the agenda, so I'm afraid I can't answer that question.
So once again, a question relating to Scientology has been censored.
Yes, may I ask one? Sorry, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, yes. Well, yes, please ask your question.
Perfect. So I'd just like to ask, given concerns raised.
It's absolutely outrageous. How have this council considered that this to be the right way to deal with people who have very valid concerns by literally bleeping out all mention of Scientology from the recording? People have a right to speak in the public questions portion of council meetings, and they have a right for that to be recorded on the public record. It was not, however, recorded. It has been bleeped out. Well, it has been recorded, but it's been bleeped out, and they haven't published it. This is outrageous. And of course, we will be looking at options at how to get this unredacted, because that's what we did last time. We had a complaints hearing. We went to the Information Commissioner and we were successful. The council did have to upload the meeting without being censored. Why they think that they can get away with it this time, I don't understand. So we're going to be looking more into this and going to be keeping a very close eye on it. But this is precisely why I am on a mission to open dialogue and communicate with East Grinstead Town Council, is because doing stuff like this sends completely the wrong message to survivors of abuse and people who are trying to be heard about what happened to them, trying to raise the flag and sound the alarm about the abuse and harm that this organization is doing in the East Grinstead town area at St. Hill Manor. When people have concerns like this and they raise concerns about how East Grinstead Town Council are potentially very, very closely tied to Scientology and just doing what Scientology say, when somebody asks that at the council meeting, the best way to respond is to be open, be transparent, and be accountable, not bleep out the questions that are about things that the council don't like, i.e. Scientology. Scientology are based in East Grinstead. It is part of their town, whether they like it or not. And if people are going to be asking these questions, they need to be heard. What message does this send to survivors? I'm absolutely outraged, and every time it feels like we take a step forward in the right direction and the mayor sounds like he's open to dialogue and is willing to maybe talk to us and answer our questions, they then do something like this. I'm outraged, I'm shocked, and this is why it causes a great deal of upset to people who have survived abuse at Scientology. For too long, we have lived in a world where our voices have been silenced, where we have been censored, where we've been told who we can and can't talk to and about what. Scientology censors your contact with the outside world, and there's very strict restrictions on who you can talk to and what you can talk to them about. So when we come out and use the public forum of a questions portion of a council meeting to raise our concerns, being censored is extremely triggering and harmful to those who have found the confidence to speak out in the first place. So I don't know what you guys think. I just think this is a really bad sign. We took one step forward. We've taken 2 steps back, but that doesn't mean we're not going to stop. That doesn't mean we're not going to continue. We are going to, persist, and we will hopefully get to a resolution. Educon here says, how very Orwellian. Yeah, exactly. And look, even though we are concerned, it is just a fact of education. We want to educate the council on how Scientology operates. We want to educate the council on the policies that Scientology are engaging in. It's Scientology policy to bring government under its control. It's Scientology policy to use government, local government. It actually says that government officials are bums, and it says government officials are like prostitutes, they should be used. I've published those quotes from Scientology policy on my blog, scientologybusiness.com, just the other day, and I did a whole video about it. This is what we're trying to educate the council on. And when the council do stuff like this, it just signals that they are under Scientology's thumb and there is undue influence going on here, which is why it's concerning. So we'll keep flying that flag, we'll keep fighting the fight, and we'll do what we can. Bok Buddy says, ask the council how much of it costs Scientology for this special treatment. Can they advise on when they have ever blocked out public recordings? Exactly. Look, when have East Grinstead Town Council ever redacted council meetings, ever, other than with relation to Scientology questions? And I think the answer is they've never had to do it before. They never have. So why are they doing it now? Simply because it's raising concerns about abuse in Scientology. And Scientology don't like that. And therefore, neither do the council. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. That's it for now. I do have another live stream planned later this evening. In just a couple of hours, I will be going live with Vanessa LaRose. Fingers crossed, she is living in California and there are some storms at the moment, so her internet might not be very good. But if it is okay and internet permitting, we will be live streaming in a couple of hours to celebrate Valentine's Day from a Scientology perspective, to talk about love in Scientology and the lack thereof, and how Scientology fosters a culture for child neglect and abuse. So stay tuned for that. If you want to support the channel, please press the like button. Make sure you've dinged the bell so that you get notifications whenever I go live. And if you want to support through Buy Me a Coffee or PayPal, the links for that are down in the description below. But that's it for now, and I'll see you very soon.